Молоко – гипс. Оно застыло и превратилось в белую нежную массу. Тут случайно получился очень вкусный продукт. Дуан назвал его тоуфу. Доу – это по-китайски соевые бобы, а фу – творог. Цикл программ о китайском языке и китайской культуре «Здравствуй, Китай». Ни хао, Чунго.
Хотя изобретение доуфу было случайным, в Китае процесс его производства постепенно довели до совершенства. Существует много видов доуфу – северный, южный, прессованный и другие. Разница между северным и южным доуфу в том, что при приготовлении северного доуфу в подогретую массу из измельченных соевых бобов добавляют рассол. В результате получается очень плотный доуфу, в котором мало жидкости. В южном рецепте используют гипс. У этого доуфу белоснежный цвет. Он очень нежный и мягкий, похожий на желе.
Разные виды тоуфу и готовят по-разному. Северный тоуфу пригоден для тушения и жарки и идет в различные начинки. Южный также тушат, но чаще варят и используют в супах, а также в виде холодных закусок. Словом, кто как пожелает. Кстати, а ты пробовал пахучий тоуфу?
Пока нет, хотя слышал, что у него действительно очень необычный и странный запах. Иностранцам он кажется страшно неприятным.
Я тебе советую все-таки попробовать. Это очень известная южная китайская блюдо.
Düzündегі шыққан бақташ атайлар ұшар тамақ көргендерін әңгіме етіп әркімге айтысып жүр. Бұны естіген ақпаратшылар жоғалуын ғарыш адамымен байланыстырып, сан-саққа жүгірсе, зерттелгендер жағынан жер шарына ғарыш адамдары жағынан қатер төнді деп тұраланып жүр. Осылайша жер шары бір рет осып берді.
Çarçak ketirgalık bir ekip. Tekşiriş neticesi tıbbi uç asmanda çakmak çaktan yapıyor. Communities and a trip to the grocery store feels like itself. Spring, of course, brings pollen and allergies, but it also brings something much nicer. Spring. Well, what is it about this time of year that makes people so fast? Is that the right word? Sometimes slightly bitter, sometimes slightly sweet, but always oddly fragrant trees. And how did something that used to grow so quietly in the wild full-blown lifestyle trend? Is it flavor? Is it health? Is it looking back on the past with poetically romantic memories? Or maybe just a combination of everything. It's springtime, and I think it's Yushan and Yishan, good afternoon. I think it's about cleaning time. We clean our homes, we have spring cleaning, but we also have kind of a soul cleaning springtime too, I think. Maybe eating cleaner spring greens is a little bit of a
Especially it is the time of the spring, and everything is so refreshing, and you can totally see the buds are growing out on the
pink blossoms, cherry blossoms are already in bloom in many places. Today it's very warm outside in Beijing, and during my lunch break I went for a little walk and I saw the dog-eared out around the little parks and streets and doing whatever it is that they're doing around the grass with the plants and stuff. It's just a nice time of year.
Yeah, and in fact, I just had what we call Hong for lunch. It's literally translated into the bite of spring, which means in one bowl you got the rice, but on top you have the green beans, the Chinese tune, bamboo shoots, and everything that represents spring vegetable in one bowl. That's becoming one of the trendy items in a lot of the healthy meals that we have here in China too.
I think I had that last weekend.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know what, I don't know the name of it, but I just saw the picture, and it was exactly what you just described. And the Chinese tune is something that I was not familiar with. That kind of, I don't know, it kind of looks like seaweed a little bit, but it doesn't grow in the ocean. Green a little bit.
Trees. I don't even know how to translate the tree's name, but yeah. It's a type of twig.
Springtime is a time of increasing our vocabulary with all these new plants.
Yeah, and also across multiple chain supermarkets and instant retail markets, the variety of spring vegetables in the market this year has reached a peak in recent years. And also, spring greens typically refer to tender wild vegetables such as shepherd's purse and also spinach and other vegetables that you just mentioned, Yushan. And then eating the spring greens at the spring equinox, is a widely observed folk tradition.
Really?
Yeah, this is the one of the 24 solar terms is spring equinox, and the fourth of these terms in the Chinese traditional calendar. So this year was the 20th of March. It marks and day and night are equal in length.
And also, it's more or less believed by many that this is the time when spring officially arrives onto the land.
I didn't know that there was a big traditional history of the spring greens in China. It sounds like there is. So, yeah, so at this time of year, it's something that everybody eats. Now, when I eat lunch, where I eat lunch, why am I explaining it like it's a mystery? I can't see that we have. There's often, almost every day these days, I've seen the spread and I'm thinking it might be tuna now.
Yes.
Is that what it is? I didn't know what it was before, but I eat almost every single day. It's really healthy looking.
Yes, it's a very traditional dish too. I've had memories of my family's household cooking it and even canteens cooking it, but I used not to like it when I was a kid. And you grow up, you start to get used to the flavor because it's got its own flavor. It's really hard to describe.
Bitter?
Yeah, bitter if you're not totally boiled, but we'll get down to that too later on.
A little bit of recipe coming our way. Then you've got the wild mountain greens. So we talked about it on Roundtable many times, I think, about how foraging has become quite popular here in the country. What are some of the things that people are foraging? Mint, I think, is on that list.
Yeah, it's called fish mint or fish.
So you think
Yeah, it's not leafy. Southwest China, especially in Guizhou province, last year I made a video dedicated to fish mint. Introduce it to people who's never tasted it before, but it's called fish mint for a good reason because it tastes like seafood. But it tastes like seafood.
not exactly seafood, I would say
Bad seafood?
bad seafood, not rotten seafood, you know. You're not selling it.
Wait, so fish mint is either a fish nor mint. It's a root that grows in the ground that tastes pretty fat by your explanation.
Yes, and just like stinky tofu, you know, people love them, people give them
Stinky tofu at one of these coupons, and I was expecting to have to plug my nose and fight my way.
先来听一下。
点
在我看来，这场战争违反了国际法，美国发动的攻击的理由完全站不住脚，这一点毫无疑问。最令我沮丧的是，如果是为了阻止伊朗发展核武器，那么战争本可以避免，完全没有必要。自2015年7月14号伊核协议达成以来，伊朗获得核武器的可能性已经大大降低。德美双方分歧已深，人们已经丧失对美国政治的信任。这种失信不仅发生在盟友之间，在全球范围内也是如此。
好，我们会继续跟专家分析啊。德国总统的措辞应该说话说的还是挺重的。那怎么看待美国的西方盟友对美以发动对伊朗军事行动的态度？继续听一下李启新先生怎么说。
德国总统施泰因迈尔措辞严厉的批评呢，其实代表了西方核心盟友对于美国这一次军事行动的普遍不满。That people are picking these wild mountain greens, and also in Greenland area, as we mentioned, some of these are like typically famous. And during this season, not only these greens, also mushrooms are also very popular in that area, and people would just specifically go to Greenland to just have a taste of mushrooms.
I think we'll get to a little bit later on some of the dangers of doing your own foraging if you're not educated. But for now, let's stick with the edibles, the edible stuff. The flowers are the edible variety of plants too that everybody loves, and I had it a few times, and it was the first time I learned Yunnan is famous for flowers. There's a really delicious sushi place that's not far from here. You've been there before as well. And one of the things that I ordered was Yunnan flower something sushi. And it's so pretty. It comes out, it's this singular piece of sushi, and it's decorated with all these little beautiful flowers that are indeed edible.
It's one part of China that's very much known for having flour on the dining table. And then, this is according to Yonghui Supermarket, one of the major supermarket chains here in China, according to their data, showing that in southern China, cucumber flowers and fresh chrysanthemums are also the most popular locally. Then in western China, eating flour as an eating habits are at the most widespread, and also with the largest variety of flowers sold in their local market. While in China, in our market here up in north, the number of customers trying cucumber flowers is showing significant growth, meaning that we don't really have the habit, or not as wild spread as other parts of China. But yeah, now we also have edible roses, jasmine, pomelo flowers, even pumpkin flowers.
Just like cucumber flower. Yeah, that's how they...
Do you know that, or you just saying that so we can move on? You answered that way too quickly.
I know cucumber flowers are
yellow. Yes, mostly they're yellow. And actually, I've tried that chrysanthemum flower, and because me and my friends realized that spring season hot dogs, and we bought these vegetables.
So the flowers go in the hot pot together?
Yeah.
You can, and tried it with some salad, and then you mix it with that sauce. But with the sauce, the taste, I think, is quite good.
Yes, there's something endearing, though, about that bitter flavor. It tastes so healthy and good for you, and it's easy to eat. Now, typically when we talk about fruits in season, for example, sometimes the price can get a little bit more expensive.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Watchini.
Bamboo shoots have also been seen a price drop of up to 76% in some markets. So I looked up the potential reason of why there's been a price drop. So a person in charge of spring vegetable procurement at Hema introduced that it is, there are two reasons, first of all. First of all, there's the favorable weather conditions, I'm quoting from his speech, in southern China's Yunnan this year, where a lot of the vegetables, spring vegetables, they grow, see a bountiful harvest of this time regarding Chinese tune and all the other varieties. And then another reason is that they've enhanced, or rather expanded, the upstream cultivation up north. So it's not only grown in just particular areas that's traditionally known for harvesting these vegetables.
Right, yeah. And that happens sometimes, right? Different regions of China are famous for different fruits or vegetables or what have you, and then they get shipped to other parts of the country, and if you're shipping it far away, then you're going to have to pay more when it gets there. But now it's these types of things are growing in many different spots, which means that's good for us when we take our trips to the supermarket. Right. And again, the drone, I mean, this has to have an impact too, I would think. The drones, we kind of skipped over that, but this is a really important point because they're not just, the drones aren't just taking like a handful of vegetables down to the bottom of the mountain. They're taking tons and tons and tons.
Because some of them can actually carry loads of like boxes of these greeneries in the mountain. And in the high altitude mountains of Sichuan, drones are now being used as these flying porters to carry 150 kilograms loads of wild greens like shoots, bamboo shoots, and tune shoots, and shepherd's purse, everything, and down a mountain in just 2 minutes. And that trip that used to take farmers hours to hike.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned before. I mean, that would have taken, and the whole process would have taken weeks perhaps, but now with logistics running the way they are, it can go from the mountain to a supermarket probably in the same day.
And that's why some of these greens can only be like popular within a very specific area before, and now maybe even like people nationwide can have a taste of them.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why people are getting so fond of eating these springtime veggies, is because before they used to be very region specific, but now anybody can get them anywhere, and it's kind of a fun kind of almost luxurious type of thing.
The way I see it is that before, we have our own local delicacy when it comes to spring vegetables, and we love it for a reason.
What would be an example of that?
Like, for example, Chinese tune. It's not only known in the south, but also widely grown in northern China, too. And it only grows at the early, or rather the starting point of spring, making it the dish to go to at this very limited time of the year. That's one major attraction of these type of vegetables. They don't serve you all year round. They kind of do now, but it tastes less. They taste the best in the springtime. So that's one big selling point.
And bamboo shoot was not that popular like before, right, here in the northern part. Because I remember, still because where I grow is in southern China, and it was quite expensive when I was a child.
Right.
But still, it was a kind of spring delicacy, and it is the time that you have to eat bamboo shoot. And I kind of like that feeling of, okay, it's finally spring and I can finally have bamboo shoot. But in Beijing or in northern China, I don't think it is a very common dish.
We don't have a lot of spring bamboo shoots. We have the winter bamboo shoots, which is bigger in size but less juicy and more crunchy.
Okay.
Almost like cucumber. We grow that quite a lot. I think I remember having that very often. But spring bamboo shoots, no. As you can see, like, pandas love bamboo, and a lot of bamboo is grown in southwest China for a good reason, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is there any connection to TCM here? There's been a health trend in terms of people wanting